YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Dez A1. Please say the A1, coming at you from the Big Dub Network, where we strive for the W's and we learn from the L's. Today we are discussing the Decisions to Be Made series, which today includes whether we should go offensive head coach, defensive head coach. It's a very interesting concept. It seems to be something that has the fan base torn right now. I have my own opinion. I find benefits in both of these. One benefit may outweigh the other to some particular people, but I find a benefit in getting an offensive head coach or a defensive head coach, and I'm going to share both of those today. And let me know down below, which do you think we should go, whether offensive or defensive head coach? And also, if you have a particular head coach we should hire, let me know. And if we have a particular head coach that we should not even give an interview to or request an interview from, let me know. I have a couple of those to consider as well. But from an offensive head coach standpoint, I feel as if this is the perfect situation for an offensive driven head coach, being that you're going to draft your quarterback at 2 overall. If there's at least 2 quarterback prospects that you like, you'll have your pickings of one of those. Or if there's one prospect that you like, you can move up or attempt to move up to take that one prospect. Or in a perfect world where you have 3 prospects that you potentially like, you will have the choice of those, 2 of those 3 at the 2nd overall pick. And most importantly, the coach will come in with the quarterback, and we would hope for 10 to 12 years of this coach and quarterback being together, that there were 8 or 9 successful years of them being together, and they grew together, they matured together. A coach that schemed this quarterback to success that could never be imagined here in Washington. I think that's one of the reasons that we should go out and get an offensive head coach. An offensive head coach that'll be able to sit in a room and tell everyone on the front office and on the coaching staff why we need to go get this quarterback or that quarterback and what we can do with that particular prospect. I would agree with that 100%. If anybody said, we need an offensive coordinator specifically because he can come in with that number 2 overall pick that's going to be a quarterback and they can pretty much grow together, I agree with that 100%. But if we go out and get a defensive driven head coach, he could potentially bring that defense back to where it previously was before, because we are 1 year removed from consistent years of a top 5, top 10 defense. I don't know the last time we had an offense that was top 5 or top 10, but I do remember when we had a top 5 defense. I do remember when we was considered to have a top 10 defense, and I feel like the head coach can get us back to that extremely fast. Maybe 1 or 2 years, 1 season, and then that next season we're back to where we were before, because we aren't losing as many parts for that defense that was a top 5 defense, that was a top 10 defense. We lost both of our edges, and most importantly, we lost Montez Sweat. Like I said before, Chase Young was just a creative player that didn't pay for any stats. That just paid for the look. But Montez Sweat, he was productive here, and he's shown how productive he can be, even when he went over to Chicago. So I feel like that defensive driven head coach can get us back to our glory days of when Ron Rivera was here. We had a quality defense. It was something that was expected of us to perform on the defensive side of the ball, and we pretty much did that. We were performing at a high level on the defensive side of the ball, and one thing that was struggling was our offense. So I feel like people are blinded at the fact right now that, we're so close to having a good offense, but I feel like we're closer to having a good quality defense. Yes, our skilled guys are there on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, I feel as if we only have to shore up a couple of spots on the offensive line. The offensive line is definitely not as bad as people make it out to be. It's definitely not. All you have to do is watch the games. You see, it wasn't perfect, especially at the beginning of the season. It was a lot worse than it was towards the mid and the end of the season, but the offensive line is not as bad as people think it is. So just replacing a couple bodies on that offensive line, yes, that's all we need to do. Yes, our skill guys are, above average. Yes, we have a quality backfield, and it may get even better this offseason throughout the draft. And we'll lose Antonio Gibson, but, we still have a quality backfield. Brian Robinson is pretty good. But I feel like our defensive side, on that defensive side of the ball, we can get back to competing at a high level much sooner than we can on the offensive side. That's just my humble opinion. I don't feel like we're that far off defensively, even though last year was so bad. Last year was so bad, and people pointing at, our rookies from last year. At what point do you give a guy a chance to grow? Oh, we took Emmanuel Forbes, 16 overall. He's garbage. I mean, so he's a rookie. He's learning. He's growing. I mean, he has to grow into himself as a man. He has to, get used to the speed of the ball of the football in the NFL, the size of the football in the NFL, the strength of guys in the NFL. He just has to get used to all that, and it just wasn't going to happen overnight. It definitely didn't happen his rookie season. It might not happen his sophomore season. I am one of those that feel like Emmanuel Forbes is going to snap one year, and he's not going to look back at all, whether that's this upcoming season or next season. It's just going to be one of those seasons. I have faith in that. And Quan Martin, he's shown some sparks. So on the defensive side of the ball, we're not that far away. I think the defensive side, the defensive players, where quote unquote our leaders are, those are the ones that gave up first. Those are the ones that lost interest first. It may have started with the defensive ends that we eventually got rid of. It may have started with the defensive tackles that we speak so highly of. But I feel like that side of the ball gave up first, which made it look so much worse than it's been that anyone could have expected. Because the last thing anyone expected was the defense to get worse. Especially with our first two draft picks addressing defense. And that was our strength at that point. That was our strength. Top 5, top 10 consecutive years. Consistently. Multiple years in a row, I believe. So a defensive head coach could help that. Could help us get back to the glory days of having a competitive defense. First, before our offense can be thought of as anything as scary. I don't know. Last time offense was scary. Robert RG3 was running read options with Alfred Morris. It was a long time ago. But in my humble opinion, I feel like an offensive head coach is better for us right now, just based off the position that we're sitting in. Just based off the position that we're sitting in. Sit back. Everyone's going to look at the head coach that probably walks around with a clipboard and a marker to draw plays all day. They're going to ask which quarterback do you like, and tell us why, and what do you think you can scheme up for him to be successful here in Washington. And that head coach, that offensive-driven head coach, is going to explain that to the team, and the team is going to fall for it. The team is going to go with it. The team is going to trust it. There's no better feeling than feeling trusted when the decision is put on to you. Okay, I trust what you're going to do. Whether it works or not, I don't know. I don't care. We hope it does. But what matters most is we trust the decision making. We trust where you want to go with this. We believe that you're correct, even though you may be as wrong as someone telling you the sky is orange or pink. Even though you could be as wrong as anything, you still have faith that you're trusted, and that your opinion or that your input or that your take on a specific situation, like us drafting a quarterback, because that's going to be a real conversation to be had. Which one do you want? Why? And what can you do for him to make us better? Offensive head coach, for my vote, man, gets my vote. To be specific, bring in the guy from Detroit, man. Bring in the head coach from Detroit. Bring all of those particular stats from Detroit that Detroit has right now. Bring it all over to Washington. Top 5 rushing offense. Top 5 passing offense. You have your number 1 receiver getting the ball. You have a shifty back and a power back. You have a rookie tight end that was able to produce. Bring all of that to Washington. It'll be a beautiful sight. It'll be a beautiful sight, but people have to understand that he was not. Ben Johnson did not do that with a rookie quarterback. Maybe he didn't do it with the most talented quarterback, the most evasive quarterback, the most elusive quarterback. Maybe he didn't do that with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but what he did do that with was with a quarterback that understood the game and that was exposed to the game for years at a high level. So just understand that this is not an overnight job. This is not an overnight job. Take that understanding and move forward with it, and great things are going to happen in Washington. Like I said, this is the Decisions to Be Made series, offensive head coach versus defensive head coach. Let me know down in the comments where you stand. Like, subscribe, comment, do all those great things, man. Leave me feedback. I will answer to it, and we can have a respectful discussion. Yes, until next time, I am Des A1. Peace.